Hello and welcome back to Tatooine, and we have our desert skiff in the background here that I demonstrated how to create in a previous video. I brought Luke along with me today because we're excited to give everyone a preview of the progress I've been making on creating Jabba's sail barge. It's been a challenge, also has been fun to work on so far. Not a finished product yet, but I think I've gotten it to a point that I can proudly show everybody how we're coming along. I added this ledge climb here for characters who lack the ability to jump high enough to get up onto the skiff. That's what I'm demonstrating here. So for characters who lack that ability, they still can get up to the skiff. So there's our first view of the sail barge that I've created. Put a rail slide in here. That's just temporary. My idea is that the rail slide will provide the players a way to get back and forth between the desert skiff as well as Jabba's sail barge, and we'll use a replayer to have it appear and disappear as the needs of the game demand. Also, you notice that I don't have the canopies on the upper deck. I just couldn't come up with the design that I was happy with. I tried using the window canopies from the Agrabah set, didn't like how that looked. I tried using the wedge blocks and theming them in an orange color. Didn't like that either. It just looked clunky. So for my level here, the sail barge has the canopies removed. Go ahead and we'll shoot our target here. Extend our plank. Get our enemy here, so I'll have Luke take care of him. Down to the Sarlacc. And let's go ahead and slide on over. Continue with a more detailed tour of our sail barge. So I've added a couple of AT-AT cannons up here. Have to use a replayer to make these appear and disappear because they cannot be connected to a path. Kind of fun to shoot around and play with. And then we have one up here on the upper deck on the stern. This one really commands the battlefield well. Has command of the skiff, the upper deck of our sail barge. You could even do player versus player in this level if you wanted to. Let's go ahead and jump on down. Take a look on the inside, lower deck.
Careful, Jabba.
There's Jabba. Now we have to use a friend generator to create him, so we can't defeat him. So Luke's going to try and make him angry here. So for the first time in his worm-ridden, filthy life, as Han would say, Jabba's going to do the honorable thing, and he's going to go down with his ship. So we have the viewing ports here, some windows for Jabba to enjoy the carnage of the Sarlacc pit. And we have our interior space here to fight some enemies. Not a lot of room, so that's why I went with this pole climb instead of steps. A nice thing about the pole climb is it can be connected to a path as well. I would have had to use double steps, which would have taken up a lot of interior space, so that's why I went with the pole climb instead. So again, it's low enough for a character with high jumping ability to get up, and for those who can't, we have this ledge climb again to be able to get up. In case you get knocked out or jump out or fall out or fall down from the top, you have a way to get back on board. Go ahead and take a look at some of the logic we have here. So here's our friend generator that we're using for Jabba. We have 3 replayers here, and this is what puts in our ledge climb as well as the railings on the upper deck and the 2 AT-AT cannons on the upper deck that controls them. And then this section over here, this is all the logic that I use for blowing the sail barge up. The explosion effects, timers, repeaters, sound effects. And this is the key to what makes everything work here, is this path creator. Drags straight down underneath the terrain, and every block has been connected to this path, and then each block I had to individually adjust the properties, the horizontal, vertical, forward, backwards, and rotation properties of each block to get them into position to create the shape for the sail barge. Tedious, a lot of experimentation. I've recorded all of it, so I hope to have some instructional videos. So that's a test button. That's what makes the sail barge disappear. reset button. So the barge comes back up on the top of the path and the replayer puts in the additional parts for us. I'll take a look around the sail barge. I was pretty proud of how the stern came out here. It's a bit of trying to figure out how to make a square peg fit into a round hole. I used these vertical wedge blocks and the ramp blocks, and with the path tool I could change the rotation or the angle of them to give a rounded look to the back. So I was really pleased with that. The bow was also a challenge to make it look rounded enough. There's only so much you can do with such blocky pieces. I used the kiln theme to color it. Gives it a nice brown, kind of brownish metal look. I really like the look of it. I'm pretty pleased with how this whole thing has turned out so far. Alright, climb back on board here and I strike one. Made it the second time. Alright, we're going to slide on back over. I'm going to proceed with the main event here. So the slide rail doesn't make it all the way to the edge because the boundary box interferes with that of the basic blocks for the ship. So with the replayer I can fix that. Then again, I might leave that gap just to add a little challenge there for the player to get back. Haven't decided yet. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this out so it doesn't block the view. Like I said, I just put that in there temporary to show everyone what I was thinking about of how you're going to get back and forth between the skiff and the sail barge. Alright, Luke's going to ready his pistol here and let's get on with it. Blowing up the sail barge. And there it goes. Now I want to have a debris field, and that's what I've been struggling with the mechanics for. At the end of this video, I do have another video that I'm showing some of the struggles that I'm having. So if anyone wants to stick around and see that and you have any suggestions for me, I'm open to any suggestions or recommendations on how to create a debris field. I'll go back down under the terrain here. So when the sail barge is destroyed and it blows up, it just follows this path down. It's completely intact at the bottom of the path underneath the terrain. And we'll come back and we'll reset it. And notice it takes the replayer a little bit of additional time to get the railings installed, but that's okay. Let's blow it up one last time. We have our individual charges here set to a randomizer, so it's different every time before we get the final explosions that destroy the ship once and for all. So I think that's pretty cool. A debris field will even make it better. So thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. Looking forward to getting some tutorials out. And if anyone has any suggestions for me on how to do this debris field, hang in with me to the end. And my next clip here, I'm going to talk about some of the challenges I'm having with it. Alright, here we go. So this is where I've been testing this, and the path tool has not been working quite the way I expected it to. So I have a number of blocks here, and I have connected them to a single path, and I've branched it out into 4 different paths. So I have the active turned off, set the speed to 300. Might need to be faster than that. And this logic gate will turn on the path to move the blocks. This logic gate turns it back off for resetting the blocks. And this logic gate is has a connection to every single block to reset and play. I use very similar technique for Jabba's sail barge. And then my properties here on the blocks, I've set them to orient along the path and one way and stop. Now I could also adjust the horizontal and forward backwards offsets to separate the blocks a little bit more, but I really thought that they would follow the paths here. So using the branch tool here, which I learned from Professor Toybox and 72 Pringle. He learned it from the professor, and I learned it from 72 Pringle, so thank you, Professor. We both appreciate it. So this is using my left bumper, I can create this branch. Now I had to put this point on top because notice I don't have a left bumper command. It won't allow you to branch off that. So here I have my create branch with my left bumper. And this is what creates the problem for this. And I'm going to demonstrate that right now. Go ahead and hit our target here. And it gets the pieces moving. They don't really branch out as randomly as I expected. And notice the ones in the middle, they stopped at the branching point. And they didn't go any further. They're actually at the top point, centered up on it. And the other ones just kind of jumbled together. And then when I reset, the ones that were at the top of the path reset back to the bottom, but the ones that branched out, they went back to the branching point. They will not return to the path creator, and that's a problem for my game because when I reset, I don't want the debris blocks being up in the player's view. I want them to disappear completely. I also want them to scatter more, and they're just not scattering. I'm trying to do this without having to have a path for every single piece of debris, which I know I can do, but that could cause problems for memory. So it does randomize it a little bit each time I do this, but they're still wanting to clump together. And I still have the problem where the blocks that branch off, when I reset, they don't go back to the path creator. They keep going back to the branch off point. So if anybody has any suggestions, recommendations on how I might solve this problem or do it in a completely different way to create a debris field as the ship is being destroyed, I appreciate that feedback. So drop a comment for me, and maybe we can make this a community effort to solve this problem. Anyway, if you made it all the way to the end of the video with me here, once again, thanks for watching. It's been a challenge. It's been fun. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Thanks for joining me, and have a great day.